Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Vita Luca, and today I want to help people who aren't here yet, or even those who are here that are currently looking for apartments. So let's just get into this. Just as a disclaimer, I don't actually have any experience with this. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not a realtor. I'm just giving you the tips that I've used. And so I've left a few places in the description box as to where you can go and look for your new potential home. And I know, coming to a foreign place, if you haven't been here before, or you don't tend to know where to look. You could think that you know somewhere, and you could end up in a really sketchy situation. Let's be real. You're in a foreign country, or you're trying to come to a foreign country. You don't tend to know things that you do. So if you're here and you're Czech, please be helpful and even assist if there's other places that you think are also good places to check for potential apartments. Best to be helpful and not hurtful, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So I've left you those few places, and now here's a few things for what you should expect. So Czech wages are kind of low. Not fully, but also. And the rents can be extremely high if you live in Prague. And so the average rent for a flat share or roommate agreement type thing, renting out a room, they can be anywhere from 8,000 to 16,000 in good times. Right now in the pandemic, they're lower than this. But I know when I first came out here and we weren't in a pandemic, I have literally seen people renting out just a room for 16,000 crowns. Just saying. I'm also going to help you understand the floor plans and what they mean when they say certain things. So a 1+ KK means a studio apartment. It's just one big room, your bathroom and your kitchen's included in that room. A 1+1 KK means you have one big room and you have a separate kitchen, and then you'll have your bathroom, of course. They don't count bathrooms. So that's something for you to be aware of. A 2+1 means it's one bedroom, one living room, plus your kitchen in a separate room, and you'll have a bathroom, hopefully. A 2+ KK means it's a one bedroom and one living room with your kitchen inside your living room. So it'll just be like an open concept kind of thing. But even then, the floor plan won't be open concept, but at least the kitchen and the living room will be more open concept. Then you have a 3+ KK, that is 2 bedrooms, your living room, and your kitchen would be in the living room, and you'll have a bathroom. You might have more bathrooms. They don't count bathrooms, so that'll just depend. Then a 3+1 KK means you have your 2 bedrooms, your living room, and your kitchen in a separate room, and any bathrooms. A 4+ KK is 3 bedrooms, your living room, and the kitchen's in the living room, bathroom, hopefully. And then 4+1 KK means it's 3 bedrooms, and then a kitchen and a living room separate. So you'll have 5 rooms total, which is, if you add that up, 4+1 makes 5. So you'll have 5 rooms. So yeah, they don't really count bathrooms. It's not like in North America where you have a 2-bed, 2-bath, no. And your bedrooms also won't have closets to really make them like a 2-bed, 2-bath, because it has to have a closet in bedrooms to be a bedroom in North America. But here you'll have to buy these things. Or it might come in your apartment already, depending what kind of apartment you get. So let's talk about the prices. So we talked about the roommate already. If you were to have flatmates and share a room, or have a room separate, typically 1 KKs are anywhere from 11,000 crowns to probably the 16,000 crown mark. And then you'll have utilities also that may or may not be included in those prices. It just depends. Because there are some places that can just be extremely expensive due to the last people that were living there. Their utility bill was just high. And out here, you don't pay for what you use. You kind of pay into a program, and then at the end of the year, you'll get money back, or you'll have to pay more money depending on your usage. So it's not like you can just pay for what you use. You kind of pay deposits, and then at the end of the year, they'll either give you money back or you'll have to pay more depending on your usage. So that's kind of the range of 1KK. So that's just a studio. A lot of these can be really nice, actually. So just keep an open mind. And it depends how many people are in your family as well, because you don't want to shove 5 people in just a studio apartment. For a 2KK, can be anywhere from, I've seen as low as 15,000 up to like 22,000 crowns a month. May or may not be including your utilities, just saying. And then another thing to think about is you might also need parking. Not included in these prices. Like, you typically will have to pay parking separately. And then a 3KK, you can expect to be anywhere from, I've seen as low as 20,000 now due to the pandemic. But they're typically around the 25,000 mark. Like, they'll be around that range. They'll either be like 22 to 27. And then a 4KK, I have seen a 4KK for 60,000 crowns a month. Like, they're literally 30,000 crowns plus, and it just depends on whoever's renting it out, what price they're charging. And so now that you kind of know the average prices of places just before you start looking, because of course there's always going to be the outliers. There's always going to be the people that are selling them for way more and selling them for way less. It depends on how desperate the landlord is. And then also it might just depend on where you're looking, because a realtor might make it a little bit cheaper. They might make it more expensive. It just really depends on the person who's selling it at to what price it's going to be. There's nothing that's like stabilizing them where it's like, no, they all have to be like this. That's why it's kind of a large range, because you have people who are like, no, yeah, just pay my mortgage, and they might have gotten a really good deal on it. So their mortgage is only like 10,000. So they're like, yeah, just pay the 10,000 and then pay your own utilities. I'm fine with that. And then there's other people where it's like, no, I want to make a profit. So my mortgage is 10,000. I'm going to rent this place for 20. So yeah, really just all depends on your landlord. And now, how much money should you be saving in order to, find your apartment? Well, typically you need your first month's rent and then a damage deposit that also typically matches your first month's rent. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher, depends. Now, depending on where you found your apartment, you might also have to pay agency fees. Agency fees are the fees that people pay for the agency to list the house and to find them something. So you typically don't have to pay these until you move in, and that's why they're there. And it's not just you paying them, it also has to pay these fees as well as the tenant. So that's why they might just make places more expensive. But the lowest that I've seen so far for agency fees, well, is either 0 because the landlord's renting it out themselves and not using an agency, or the lowest agency fees that I've seen so far is 5,000. Which is pretty good, but that I believe is because we're in a pandemic and they don't want to lose customers just because they're more expensive than people selling on their own. But typically, not in a pandemic, agency fees are 1 month's rent or more. I've seen ones for more and I was just shocked. So there's some places where you just need to come up with 60K just to move in, because you need your 20,000 1 month rent, then your 20,000 damage deposit, which you might get back. So that is a thing still. You might still get your damage deposit back, but then you also have to pay an agency fee, which you won't get back. That just goes to the agency. So you have to give 60,000 crowns to just move in. So that's why I'm making this video, so you're aware of this. So you can kind of expect before you go looking and you're just like, what? And it would be best if you can take these prices and then convert them into your own currency so that you better understand what they are. And then even then, if you're also looking for jobs, which I made my last video about, you can view that here. But if you're also looking for a job and you're seeing adverts about how much they're going to pay you a month, you can go and then look for apartments that will be at least decently in that range and that you'll be able to afford. You won't put your expectations too high and then get really disappointed and may not be able to find anything in your budget. So you can just look around what your range will be. And if you're going to be an employee, just take off 10,000 crowns as taxes. It may not be the actual tax amount, but it'll just make your life easier when trying to think of whether you can actually afford this. If you're going to be an employee for another company, just cut off 10,000. So if they're saying it's 40,000, 30,000. Use 30,000 as your market for what you can afford and what you can't. Because yeah, you don't want to find out like, oh, I only make 30K, my apartment's 22. That's my wages after taxes. I don't want you to get like that. So 30, look at it as your wage is 20. And then try to find something that's reasonable after that. And then you can look in those price ranges that I gave you. If you have to live with a roommate, so be it. You want to just live in a studio? Go ahead. Nothing wrong with any of it. Just as long as you're doing what's right for you. And if you have a bigger family, the government does give you some money to assist with kids. And so, yeah, you'll have to look around your options into that. And honestly, buying a house might be the cheaper option for you. Though, buying a house in the Czech Republic can also be extremely difficult. And it's just best to go to a bank and see what your options are with that before you get dead set on, you know what, I'm just going to go and buy something because it'll be cheaper in the long run. Look into your options, because depending where you're from, you may not be able to get anything. And depending on your type of employment, you may not be able to get anything. And you'll also have to work for at least 3 months before they'll even consider you. So you'll have to live somewhere in the meantime. So take all of that into consideration. And I hope this was helpful. And I've also made notes besides the places that I've left in the description as to where agencies are and where you might have to pay fees. And like I kind of made notes down there in that regard. So if you really don't want to pay an agency fee, you can look at the links where I've marked like there's no agency fees here. If you really don't mind and you want to see everything, then take a look at it all and then make your decision from there. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!